New Chief Meteorologist Matt Standridge. Got a winter storm over us, and there are more rounds to go. Today we picked up some sleet, we picked up some freezing rain. Some of us stayed more in that ice category, and some of us were more in the rain category. We all got a little bit different weather. You can see the ice pushing east tonight, some snow mixing in on the northern edge, but the heavier sleet is coming to an end across northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. So we want to give you an update on roughly what we saw today, where this ice is going, and then we're also going to take a look at that next round. You don't see it right now, but across West Texas, you see this batch of clouds that's just starting to kind of grow over time. You can see it slowly expanding a bit. That's our next one. You're going to fill in the radar with sleet overnight tonight, and then it's going to move over the Red River, cross the state line. We've got another round to talk about tomorrow. So as we get ready for this live stream, I'm going to get a few more systems ready, but you see the low pressure system in the south. That's going to keep us on the colder side of this whole storm. And so that makes sure that we have the ice threats here. But you see a lot of that heavy ice is really hitting Little Rock, parts of central Arkansas, and eastern Arkansas. They're in for it tonight. And as temperatures get colder tonight too, there you have winter storm warnings and ice storm warnings in place for tonight. We're kind of getting a bit of a break in the western half of the state, western third of the state, and in eastern Oklahoma. Our worst weather was a little bit earlier today. So we're getting a couple things ready. All right, I think we're good to rock and roll. It's jet stream sitting right over our heads, so this isn't the only storm that you're going to see. Since it's sitting right over us, it's like a highway for thunderstorms and showers and rain and ice to form, and we keep getting small round after small round. We've got another round coming in tomorrow, midday, and then maybe one more round on Wednesday. So we're going to take a look at both those rounds, but right now it is coming in thick. You can see the third round. So the second round that we're getting for tomorrow, it's kind of hiding right now. You don't see it really developing. It's going to be on the lighter side, but it still hits us with some decent ice tomorrow. I'll show you where in just a second. That's in West Texas. You see the clouds forming. You see the low pressure sitting off the coast of California. That is our Wednesday storm. But there are some signs that if it continues its really southerly track, it may hit more southern Oklahoma, southern Arkansas, not so much the River Valley, northwest Arkansas. We'll have to wait and see. Once we get this system, this first one out and the second one out, we'll have a better idea. But it's just a mess. Expect on and off ice and on and off travel headaches, on and off slick spots for the first half of this week. Just no way to get around it. Right now, let's talk about starting to clear up in northwest Arkansas for the heavy sleet. But when we've been looking at our cameras across the area, you can still see some mist out there. The clouds are low, and there could be some freezing mist on and off tonight. Remember, freezing mist is sometimes worse than the heavy sleet because that mist just hangs around and it starts flash freezing on some surfaces. So watch out for that. We're already slick in northwest Arkansas. Don't expect that to change overnight into tomorrow morning. Expect at least to stay the same slickness level, if you could call it that, or get a little bit slicker overnight tonight. In the River Valley, we're watching the heavy sleet start to exit Johnson County, Logan County, Scott County. We still have some good sleet right over Paris and Boonville, Waldron. We're trying to wrap up some of the ice for us. Clarksville and around Lamar and Knoxville as well. We're still getting some of the ice, but starting to clear up more in Fort Smith. Some spotty ice around Poto and heading east towards Midland, Mansfield, Hartford, and Greenwood. But that's all headed out. We got to wait for that next round to come in. Here's a closer look in northwest Arkansas. Some low clouds still hanging around. So watch out for some little specks of ice still floating around to keep everything cold and to keep things slick. In the River Valley, same story, but we still have some ice remaining right over Tate and Waldron and then Clarksville as well. But it's all pushing east. Because everything is pushing east, we've now downgraded that winter storm warning that we had earlier down to winter weather advisory. That's going to carry us out for the next couple of days. This next round may not be as heavy, but it's still going to cause some problems, especially the farther south you go. Look at LaFleur County. We still have a winter storm warning in place because the next round is going to be a little bit more intense south of I-40. The farther south you go, the more ice that may take place. You do see the ice storm warning. That does include Scott County. And then as you go east, we've got more of those ice storm warnings all the way to Little Rock. What's going to happen is we're getting some ice tonight, but tomorrow, that next round could be very icy for central Arkansas. We're going to get clipped here in the kind of the northwestern whole corner of the state, northwest Arkansas and the River Valley. But that's why you see the alerts a little bit more impactful towards the south. All right, how much did we pick up today? Big question. This is going to be very generalized. It's kind of asking as if you're trying to summarize the whole Revolutionary War in 5 minutes. You can't do it, but there are some generalizations that we can talk about. Northwest Arkansas, you see this circle that we've painted. about 1 inch of sleet generally, sometimes up to 2 inches. We saw some reports getting close to 2 inches of sleet. Guys, we had some thunder sleet at times. Those are some thunderstorms that are throwing out some sleet. As you guys know, in the summertime, you get a good thunderstorm. That's a lot of rain, but then change that over to sleet. It was a mess from Tulsa east to northwest Arkansas. The darker blue color showing you where some of the heavier sleet was, especially in Benton County and northern Carroll County and then Delaware County. We really picked up some good sleet. In the mountains, it was a mix. We got some ice and some sleet, a little bit harder to tell in the higher terrain. We've got fewer reports. But then you head south back into the river valley. Not everyone picked up a whole bunch of ice, but some of us did, especially around Fort Smith and south of Fort Smith. And then right around the Floor County, we picked up about 0.1 inches of ice. To put that in perspective, to get power outages, you generally have to hit about 0.25, so a little bit more than double than what we got. So about a 1/4 inch of ice is when you start getting more of those power outages. We don't have a whole bunch to talk about tonight, so that is some good news. It's cold out tonight. We don't need those power outages. But with the next round coming in, power outage issues may start to go up. The threat starts to go up, especially south of I-40. Probably not too many power outages in northwest Arkansas because we keep getting the sleet. Sleet just kind of bounces off the power line. It doesn't necessarily coat it as well. Now, there could be some coating, but it doesn't coat as well. It just kind of bounces off the majority of the time. But we did pick up some ice in the river valley. Now, some of us farther east, we had some rain throughout much of the day as that whole system was sitting over us. So our ice totals are a little bit less. This is what it looks like outside right now, just south of the Walmart home office. You're looking down Walton. Now, one lane kind of open on each side. As long as you keep your tire tracks, you have some dry pavement to work with. But notice right there in the middle, you're trying to turn, maybe you're trying to get some coffee tomorrow morning. It's going to be slick. I tell you what, I went ahead earlier today driving from the state line, went a little bit past the state line with Missouri, came back around. Our roads were actually treated better than some parts of southwest Missouri, so that was really cool to see. But one lane was open the whole time. Generally, there was still some sleet on it, but the other 2 lanes, they were complete trash. They were very hard to travel on, and everyone was kind of just going 20 to 30 miles per hour. So it was crazy today. It was difficult for travel, and we still have very slick roads as a result of all that sleet that came in. Don't expect things to really melt overnight tonight. Temperatures are well below freezing, and so everything's going to remain slick. Take a look at what happens when you've got bridges and overpasses compared to roads on the ground. So you're looking at the big interchange with I-49 and the Fulbright Expressway. He was just going around the curve, able to make it just fine. But we're sleet covered. But look towards the roads that are on the ground. You have some bare patches, but you don't have as many on the bridges and overpasses. This is a great example about how bridges are going to be a lot slicker necessarily than the roads that are on the ground. And that's going to remain the case tonight. Don't expect any improvements on the Fulbright Expressway tonight as well. In Fort Smith, going down Rogers Avenue, mainly wet, but we do have ice patches, and some of us are dipping below freezing, and some of us by a couple degrees. And so some of these wet spots could try to refreeze overnight tonight. Check in with meteorologist Zach Scott tomorrow morning. He'll have the updates on those roads. Tiffany, Joe, they're going to be also taking a look at all the reports of traffic accidents and ice road conditions, all from RDOT. They'll give you an idea of what's going on. All right, let's talk about Futurecast. We'll show you what we're expecting overnight tonight and what's going to happen with that next round that hits tomorrow. Already, Futurecast is kind of off. Look at the temperatures. We're already below freezing for parts of the river valley. So this is where we got to take Futurecast with a grain of salt and give you some nuance and kind of let you know what we're expecting. We're expecting temperatures to be a little bit colder than what you see in northwest Arkansas too. So if there is that freezing mist out there, it'll flash freeze on contact with many surfaces. You might wake up again with your car having a thin layer of ice, that little glaze for some of us, but it's going to be patchy. It may not be as widespread as it was this past morning, but still patchy, still something to watch out for. In the river valley, that heavy sleet is pushing out. We may still have some of that patchy, misty drizzle, and it's probably going to be thicker in the river valley than it was in northwest Arkansas, and that was the case this morning too. So watch out for that as well. Waking up tomorrow morning, still some patchy, freezing drizzle could be possible, but there's that next wave, probably arriving somewhere between 9 and 10 o'clock, crossing that state line into Fort Smith, Van Buren, and then eventually into northwest Arkansas. However, this one's more coming in from the south and west rather than more the west and the northwest. Northwest Arkansas had that round first, the heavier stuff. Of course, we had more accidents in the river valley with that thin glaze from the morning, but when that batch of heavier stuff came in, it hit northwest Arkansas first, then the river valley. We flipped that tomorrow. Starts in the river valley, coming in from the south and west and from Oklahoma, crosses the state line. But a lot of us are going to, once again, get a mix of some sleet and maybe a little bit of snow in northwest Arkansas. But where temperatures are a little bit warmer the farther south you go, it's hard for Futurecast to try to delineate. But you go south of Boonville, south of Paris, into Scott County and southern LaFleur County, that's where we're expecting more ice, that freezing rain, rather so much than sleet. Guys, it's going to be a mess tomorrow south of I-40, I think, going from about 9 to 10 o'clock in the morning to 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. But after the heavy stuff gets out of here, we still have that chance for some lingering flurries and some lingering freezing mist. This system just won't stop. We've got a jet stream sitting over us that brings some rising motion, so we keep building those clouds, and the clouds keep throwing out more stuff. Even if it's not heavy, it still can cause big problems even when it's just a mist, just like tomorrow morning. But throughout Tuesday, the time to really watch for heavy sleet coming down will be from 9 to 10 o'clock in the morning to about 3, 4 later into the afternoon. How much ice is coming our way for tomorrow? Well, check this out. The pink colors show you some smaller ice totals. The purple colors show you the heavier ice totals, and look where they are. They're south of I-40 generally. Remember, to get that power outage threat, you got to get closer to the 0.25. So some of us who already picked up 0.1, we don't have to go that much farther. We just kind of need to double that tomorrow, and we may start to do that. One good thing, though, in our court is that we don't have a lot of wind. Generally, when you get ice and wind, that makes it a lot worse, because even just a small coating of ice on tree limbs and power lines, you start get the wind to blow. Maybe it's just enough to put that power line down a little bit more, it gets the tree branch, hits the power line, you knock out power. Big problems that start to happen. So we'll watch for the biggest power outage threat to be in Johnson County, Logan County, Scott County, and LaFleur County tomorrow. And then Wednesday, there is a chance for maybe just a little bit more freezing rain in the River Valley, not so much northwest Arkansas. We're still working on Wednesday's forecast, to be honest. We really need to get this round out of here that we're getting right now. It's almost done. And then reevaluate, and then get tomorrow's round out of the way, and then reevaluate again. As you guys probably feel, the timing's kind of changed the past couple of days. The intensities have changed the past couple of days. This is just a messy system that is kind of like a railroad track over us, with car after train car after train car, which is bags of wintry mess. And so it's kind of hard to tell exactly what each one's going to bring, but we just know something is coming. That's the case we're in, and everyone gets something different. But what you need to know tonight is that if you live in northwest Arkansas or the mountains and you haven't got out in your house, most of the roads are sleet covered. Are they drivable? Yes, most of the time. You just have to take it slow. But a lot of times you could get out if you have to. So just keep in mind, give yourself a little extra time if you do have to head out. In the River Valley, it's a mix. Some roads are wet, and then some of them have ice patches. And then the farther west you go, we've got more of those sleet-covered roads here and there throughout LaFleur County and Sequoia County. We've had some sleet for the past couple of hours, so we may start to get, there may be a little bit more sleet on some rural roads throughout the River Valley. But remember, in Fort Smith, even looking down Rogers Avenue, mainly wet with some ice patches. That'll continue to be the case. Patchy freezing overnight tonight with that mist. And then with that round of ice, there could be a few power outages south of I-40 generally for tomorrow. One other thing I want to show you guys, it would take me just a second, is the RDOT map. I just want to show you the latest on what road sensors are showing. And then also, as plow drivers are out and law enforcement, they're out as well. They take a closer look at the roads, and then they just report them. So here on the map, you're going to see it says I-49 Fulbright Expressway. That's just from earlier, so ignore that. But you look in northwest Arkansas, we've got a lot of ice, and what that really is just sleet. We've got a lot of sleet-covered roads all across Benton County, Carroll County, Madison County, and Washington County. Most roads have sleet on them. You head south, once you head south of Bobby Hopper Tunnel, and you're more in Crawford County and Franklin County, it starts to become a little bit more patchy. You got ice pockets here and there, especially on bridges and overpasses. You go even farther south, you kind of have a messy slush on some roads, and we're noticing some ice patches, though, around Blue Mountain. And then you head west on 10. 10 usually has some problems on it. Beautiful drive, but just kind of hilly there. And then on 23, headed north out of Boonville, too, we've got some slush to report. Bridges, 540 bridge, you see that pink line? We've got some slush being reported on the 540 bridge. I could probably say the Midland Bridge as well has some ice. And some ice patches too. The Barling Bridge there on 59 as you go across the Arkansas River, you could have some ice too. So this is a great resource. This is something that we'll use in the morning as well to take a look at how the roads are doing as you're waking up and headed out. So let's kind of time out the rest of the week. In northwest Arkansas, sleet tomorrow, maybe some flurries mixing in. The better freezing rain is going to stay farther towards the south. And then Wednesday, we'll watch, but we may just get skimmed by some wintry mix. You're going to notice our percentage chances a little bit lower than the river valleys. Thursday, there could be a stray rain shower. Temperatures warmer. I think we're kind of done. If we can get through Wednesday morning, guys, I think we're done. Now, there could still be some precipitation out there, but we'll start to get warmer to the point that it's rained. And then by Friday, the skies clear out. We get some sun this weekend, a lot warmer too. We'll get back to the 50s. And the river valley, we're kind of more and under the gun to watch more winter weather, because what's going to happen is as these storms come in from the west, they're going to take more of a southerly route. So the farther south you are, the better moisture content you're going to have. It's not as if you just keep going north and north and north that you get colder and more snow, but you also have to have enough moisture to produce anything. And so that's why Northwest Arkansas is kind of on this weird cusp where we're cold enough for more snow and sleet, but we may not have as much moisture to work with. In the river valley, we've got more moisture to work with, but we're closer to more of that freezing rain threat with some ice. Tomorrow could be messy, midday. Watch out for slick spots. You see the percentage chances a little bit higher Wednesday. We may still have one more round that comes in the middle of the day with that wintry mix, and then we finally wrap things up for Thursday. We're going to get ready for our 5 News at 10, but it looks like the mess continues for the next couple of days. Just icy, sleety mixes all the way through Wednesday morning, and then after that, we should finally start to warm up so the ice threats start to go down. But hang in there, stay warm, and just be careful as you're headed out. A lot of times you can get out, just got to take it slow. RDOT recommends that you try to limit your travel if you can, but of course not everyone can. So if you got to head out, just be on the lookout. Give yourself a little extra time. You'll be able to make it there, okay? All right, we'll have more updates throughout tonight and into tomorrow morning. Check with meteorologist Zach Scott. He'll have the latest on the roads, and he'll let you know how bad that freezing mist may be and who has it the worst tomorrow morning. There'll be some really good information as you're waking up and headed out on your Tuesday. Make sure you keep it here, keep it local. As always, we'll keep you advised.